There's a good.
What did you do?
Oh, I hit a button, Steve.
Well, see, that's what happens when you take a week off of stuff, right?
Exactly. Sorry about that, folks. My bad.
From the shores of Lake Erie,
To Browns fans worldwide,
hope is alive and the future's bright.
I'm John. There's a Gleam.
And I'm Steve. Let's get the Gleam together. Boy, that was a cluster. Good afternoon.
There we go. Let's hear Coach.
There's a Gleam. Let's get the Gleam. All right, let's go.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to see you again, Steve. And I'm sorry. Apologize to the Elves Network for botching that intro.
That's all right. That's what vacation does for you. So good afternoon and welcome to the There's a Gleam show. We're a part of the Fanatical Elves Network, which is a part of the Fans First Sports Network. Again, I'm Steve Hemrich, and that's my co-host, John Ryder. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steve. You know, from the moment I woke up at 7:30 this morning with them tearing down my neighbor's garage until now, it's just been a whirlwind today. So I'm at my sister's house. Actually, I had to move locations because of all the construction going on next to my house.
I know.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. You called me telling me about that. You're like, I don't know if I could do the show, and the panic kind of set in. So thank God your sister moved back closer to you, and they're in Lakewood and had a secondary go-to.
Yeah, yes. I appreciate her opening up her house to me.
Well, I'm doing pretty good.
How was your vacation, Steve? You were down in Myrtle Beach?
North Myrtle Beach. Yeah, we were in North Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
We had some friends that had a condo down there, and we started going there back in 2021. Never even knew of the place, actually, to be honest with you. And we've been going there for the last, now it's 5 years. My wife, and we always take our dog. Well, first few times we didn't, but lately we've been taking our dog. We found a very beach-friendly. It's a pet-friendly beach. We found right on the ocean, a pet-friendly condo that we stay in all the time. And as my good buddy, the famous Zach Brown would say, I got my toes in the water, my ass was in the sand. I didn't have a worry in the world, and I had a cold beer in my hand. So life was pretty good for those 10 days. Minus that really Sunday. Good. What's that?
Well, yeah, and we'll get into that. It's you're gone and Rome is burning.
Right.
We've had crazy stuff going on in Cleveland. You come back home and you're in the whirlwind of it all.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have that podcast last week after the Vikings game, which we really won't talk too much about. Everybody pretty much knows what happened with that game.
Yep.
So we'll kind of focus on the Steelers game a little bit.
What happened?
We'll start off with Joe Flacco.
Yeah. That was the big news, huh?
Getting traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know, Steve. How do you feel about trading to a divisional team?
I think that was the first time we've traded with them. What they say since was it before 99 or something? I know it's been a long time. What it tells me personally, if it's going to better my team, if I think it betters my team, okay. In this case, what it screams to me is Flacco. Let's be honest. Flacco wasn't doing much here. Most people want to see the young quarterbacks play. He didn't look like he did from 2 years ago. I think the Browns, honestly, it tells me the Browns, they don't think they have a shot to win it this year. Because if they thought Flacco still had it, they're not going to strengthen a division opponent with especially a quarterback when they're trying to, win the division themselves. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things for me. One, I would never trade in a division. I try not to even do it in fantasy football. So I don't know why you would strengthen a division opponent, even if you're not in it. I mean, you don't know. There's still a lot of football to be played this year.
Right.
And, Browns rattle off 4 wins in a row or something. You're right there. And, I wouldn't want to play Joe Flacco, later on in the year. But, that being said, I understand getting a little bit of draft value in trading Joe Flacco. So, it is what it is. Bringing 4 quarterbacks into camp probably was not, in hindsight, the best idea. I don't understand why you start a guy for a couple of weeks and then trade him when he all these valuable reps that these quarterbacks missed out on in training camp because Joe Flacco was taking them.
Right.
So, it's just it's kind of frustrating because I would have liked, see Joe go all the way or go with the rookies right away.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen, it tells me, I honestly think the Browns plan to start the season. I think they really were hoping that Kenny Pickett was going to be the starter. I think that was the plan all along. Pickett to be the guy. When he got hurt, that really derailed stuff, threw everything into
okay, Steve, but if you want Kenny Pickett to be your starter and he's injured in training camp, and then you go with Joe Flacco and you trade Kenny Pickett and it's just a hamstring, and why I don't quite understand why not keep Pickett then? Why trade him? If you're going to trade Joe Flacco, we could have Kenny Pickett right now playing.
That's a fair point too. Maybe I don't know. I don't even know the status of Kenny right now. Is he practicing?
He's a backup.
Right. But I mean, God awful as Geno Smith's looked, you would have thought maybe at some point would they have thrown Kenny in to see what he could do. So I don't even know where he's at. I mean, that's a fair point. If it's hamstring, you don't think it's serious, you keep him, and let Joe do his thing for a few weeks, see if he can hit the, get that lightning in a bottle again. And then, if it doesn't, you can easily go to Pickett.
I guess the hard thing with that is I'm sorry. I guess the hard thing for me to figure out where you would put Kenny Pickett during that time when he's injured. You put him on the IR, I guess. You could have.
It depends how serious it was, because you usually have to sit out the first 6 games, is it? 4 or 6 games? Okay.
4 or 6 games.
So, yeah, I guess we'll never know how serious it was, or who knows. You know what?
Yeah.
When you figure out the Browns' way of thinking, you let me and everybody else know, because I don't think anybody knows.
Right. Well, then when they traded Greg Newsome last week
that was a
Tyson
big
Campbell.
Yeah. What'd you think of that move?
I liked it. I like getting Tyson. He's locked up for the next couple years with the Browns. Newsome was in a contract year, so I think it was a smart move by the front office I talked about how well Greg Newsome was playing this year earlier, and
right.
It's a shame, but you know what? It's a good move because I think Campbell's going to be a fine addition. I know he got burnt last week on one play, but so did Denzel Ward.
Right. Yeah. No, it was, from everything I read and heard, it's more of a scheme thing. Well, one, I don't know if they really wanted to pay Newsome the money, although Campbell's making a pretty good buck himself. They had him locked up longer, a little bit cheaper, and for all indication, more of a scheme fit. Newsome's been known to be more of that zone coverage. Schwartz definitely likes to do that man-to-man, and that's supposed to be Campbell's strength. So, the ironic thing is they're both in that same draft, Newsome was a first round. What was he? 26 pick, I believe. And Campbell I think he was the first pick in round 2. So, 5 or 6 picks apart. So that was, same age, we'll see. Newsome, I think though,
a little more size.
Yeah. He's like 6'1", I think, a little bit bigger. I think you're right though. I think Newsome was playing better. They had him on the outside instead of like in that slot. He did look better this year. I won't miss the celebration though. I mean, I don't care what the score was. He breaks up a play. He's always doing the arms or, it's like, come on, sometimes I get it, but sometimes it's like too much.
I don't mind when they actually make a play. It's when like the receiver drops it or something, then they go nuts like they did something.
Right. Yep.
Oh boy. So speaking of the Steelers game, 23-9, not much offense again by the Cleveland Browns.
Nope.
They sure made it look easy, didn't they? The Steelers.
That they did.
The Browns getting away from the running game, I think that's one thing that is kind of glaring to me over the whole game plan. I know Stefanski's under fire pretty hard this week.
Right.
Regarding this game. And with only 65 yards on the ground, I don't feel that they stuck with that run game and dropping back Gabriel 58 times to throw with 6
That
sacks.
was insane.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And I thought Gabriel played okay. Not great, but he didn't have a lot of time.
No.
the running game wasn't really working either. So,
No.
I think he's doing all right, but I also don't see a franchise quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. He's a nice quarterback. Little undersized, and the left-handed thing just doesn't work for me either.
I still think back to the good old days of Paul McDonald, who I despised as quarterback for the Browns. So yeah, I have a lefty issue as well. But yeah, I mean, solid backup. I see him being in the league a long time. He's got a great demeanor. Doesn't seem to get really rattled. Seems to get the, guys in and out of the plays. I'm not crazy about his size. I don't really know his arm strength. Let's be honest. I've yet to see him throw a ball, 40 plus yards down the field. Everything's dink and dunk for me. So I agree with you. I don't think he's the answer. Playing Pittsburgh and throwing 50, what do you have? 52 attempts, 58 dropbacks is just insane, especially when you have a bell cow like, Judkins. I don't understand that at all. Why you would put a rookie quarterback in Pittsburgh in that situation. I heard a lot of people say that we abandoned they were behind, they had to play catch up. It's like, it was 9-3 at the halftime. Judkins ended up for the game. What was it? 12 carries for the game. That's, for me, that's insane. No, well, like you said, I mean, he's been a bell cow. He's been 80 plus yards the last 3, 80 something, 82 the one game, 93, 110 or 12 last game, 12. Yeah. This guy's 220 plus pounds. He's my bell cow back, like Nick Chubb before. To me, he seems like a back with his size and speed and strength that as that game goes, he's the type of back that wears down a defense, in my opinion, and that fourth quarter comes. I know our line's been bad, but you got to do something. You can't abandon the run, especially with a rookie quarterback like that, and try and do that the whole time.
Well, yeah, and the big one too, Steve, when the Browns got down to the 3-yard line, first down and goal, and Quinshon Judkins is not even in the game.
Oh,
and then the Browns try to throw. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. I really don't understand, Steve. I don't know what Kevin Stefanski's doing. And I've been a big Kevin Stefanski supporter. And I always said, you've got to give a coach 5 years, at least 5, because we have this turnover every 1 or 2 years, new coach. What's this? This is 6th year now? And I'm really not seeing that much improvement. And you could say all you want about the 2-time coach of the year, but right now, is what I'm seeing, it's just not working.
No, he's an offensive guru, and I know we had some stuff we were going to talk about, but my offensive, head coach guru right now, we are averaging through 6 games 13.7 points per game. That's last in the NFL. Oof. And which is it? People say, well, we're injured, this or that. The line going into it, I thought we had the talent. You had people healthy. And they didn't look all that great when they were healthy. I know Jones got hurt. Conklin's missed a couple games. He gets banged up. I thought we had decent depth, and I thought the strength of our line is always the interior with Teller, Bitonio, and Pochik. And they haven't looked good at all, really.
No, they haven't. But then again, maybe they need to just start running the ball and get these guys just going forward instead of going back in their pass blocking, and just start just road grading people. That's right. What Wyatt Teller is good at.
Well, refresh my memory, and I was trying to focus a little bit on it, but
I can remember.
Do you see them do a lot of play action?
No, I know, it's just baffling a little bit.
No, I mean, if you're a good running team, you got the threat of a Quinshon Judkins, who over the last 3 games, is been running the ball really well. Find your stuff. But that's one thing we used to be pretty good at. Even when Flacco was here 2 years ago, Baker was a master at the play action. I don't see him do it at all. He's in the shotgun a lot. And I don't understand. I thought that was a staple of Stefanski's offense, was play action. So I don't get it.
And I thought it was only because Flacco was here they weren't running it. Now Gabriel's in, and they're still not really running play action. But I guess if you don't run it a whole lot, then you don't have the threat for the play action. I don't, like I said, I don't, I'm like you said before, if you could, you figure out what the Browns are doing, let me know.
Yeah, it's well, we like to always refer to
one thing I want to touch on too, Steve, real quick about with that Steelers game. It was, I think it was 3-0 in the first quarter, end of the first quarter, I believe. And we did, Gabriel threw a nice pass to Greg Larvadain, and the Steelers kind of had him bottled up, tied up, but he wasn't really stopped or tackled.
Yeah.
And the whistle, the refs blew a whistle. It would have been like a 58-yard or 54-yard pass reception for a touchdown, but they blew a quick whistle. And it's so frustrating because when we do something right and something looks like it's going to go well for us, just things happen then. Like referees step in, or like, I don't know. It's
that was a head scratcher.
And I hate that I go ahead, Steve.
Oh no, I agree with you. It's a head scratcher. You know, that one, I thought that whistle, I think most people felt that was a whistle blown pretty early there on that play. You know, what ended up
that changes the game.
It could have, very well could have. Like I said, it was 9-3 at the half, and still, I think after the third quarter, it was 16-6. It's a 10-point game going into the fourth quarter. I you know, hearing they were down 3 scores, that was later in the fourth quarter. They had plenty of time to do, you know, to whatever. I can't figure these guys out. You know, you have a rookie quarterback throwing the ball, and he's been under pressure quite a bit, 58 times. You know, it doesn't make sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to stay to my grave. Steelers still are a bunch of dirty ass MFers, in my opinion. They always,
they are.
There's some hits and stuff going on.
They're a bunch of cockroaches. They just don't go away.
Right. And, you know, did you see that one play? Remember that one play when they were going after Gabriel? I forget. I can't remember now the linebacker or who it was that came in, gave him like a hit or something. And he kind of like tackled him or pushed him down. It was kind of a weird.
Yeah.
A weird little I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Exchange there. He kind of like he went to pick him up like he was going to do something, and then just kind of stopped and backed off. But it looked like he wanted to, you know. I hate Pittsburgh.
He did. I do too. But the problem, Steve, is that when we play Pittsburgh, they are more physical than we are.
Yeah.
And it's really clear when you're watching. The Browns for years need to get tougher. They, you know, remember when they played Pittsburgh and Colt McCoy got knocked into next week?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody just stood around and watched.
That was on the sideline. Not one person really went to his defense, did anything. Was it Antonio Brown when he was with the Steelers?
Yeah.
Remember that infamous, was it Gardaki, the punter, when he was returning that punt and jumped in the air and kicked him, went flying, the flying kick right to his chest.
Yeah. And nobody did anything.
No.
We've got to be tougher.
Where's the back in the day where Turkey Jones took Terry Bradshaw, picked him up and slammed him on his head?
Where's Myles Garrett?
Yeah, that's a big one. You know, hey, let's be fair here. Some of the past games, you know, everybody's like, where was TJ Watt? Where was TJ Watt? Because he disappeared in some games. You know, it's a big game. And I would always think with Myles, it's the Steelers, but let's be honest. There's a fair amount of people that think TJ Watt is a better defensive player than him. Some people felt he should have got Defensive Player of the year Myles won it. If I'm Myles and I know he's on the other side of the ball in that game, I want to outdo that guy that whole game, and he didn't. In fact, TJ Watt made some plays, had at least one sack. I heard his name, Myles. What do you have? One assist or one pressure the whole game?
Yeah. Yeah, the last couple of games, I saw his numbers, and it was like a half a sack and a couple tackles and not much more.
No. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, for crying out loud. He's 41 years old himself. It's, you know, and that Steelers line is nothing great. So, yeah, disappointing not to see him. And again, can't really blame the defense. You know, the defense is overall still playing pretty good. I mean, what you know, they held Pittsburgh.
They're third right now in the NFL.
Yeah. So, I mean, the defense is, you know, I know some people I saw back, you know, going back to that Minnesota, you know, the only time I've really faulted our defense was that Minnesota game, that last drive. If I've got one of the best defenses in the league, you know, that's your moment to really shine. You know, game on the line, last drive, you hold them. You don't let them march however many yards down, 75, 80 yards downfield and get the game-winning touchdown against you. That's the only time I've had a beef really with our defense.
Yeah, me too. Other than that, I think they've played great the whole year. And even though Miles' production has been down the last couple games, the guys are still playing really good defense.
Yeah.
And Miles, he'll come back. I mean, he's had these lulls before, a couple games, and he might get 2 or 3 this week on Tua.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be back. I'm not really worried about Miles. I know he had some post game. I guess people were a little bit upset about this post game press conference.
Mm-hmm.
He had mentioned something, I guess, I don't know, Steve, you remember what they asked him about?
Yeah, something about the losing and tired of losing the same way or, all the time or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and he kind of just met it with not much of an answer, I guess.
He's always going to hear
I wish I had that quote in front of me.
Yeah, we got to come. See, I'm going to blame vacation. Vacation and you having to bolt to the new studio off-site. So,
right.
No, but we were talking.
I didn't have it from me. I've got. Go ahead.
No, you were talking just. I pulled up some stuff before, some interesting stats. We're talking. Right now we all know what it is. Well, let's be honest. That special teams is pretty bad too. But our offense has been the real Achilles for us. If I saw something I read online, they had Stefanski's Browns offense from 2020 to 2025, and points per game versus the league average. In 2020 he was great. We averaged 25.5 points a game versus the league average of 24.8. So we were above average and phenomenal. 21 they were 20.5 points per game versus the league average 23, so a little less. 22 we were pretty much right on par, 21.2 per game, and the league was 21.9. And then 23 was probably his second best year, averaged 23.3 points per game versus the league 21.8. These last 2 years is what's kind of sunk them. It's for the year they were 15.2 points per game last year versus 21.2. And like we said, I know it's only 6 games, but we're 13.7 versus the league average right now is 20.3. So that says a lot. Overall, they had, it was a 20.6 points per game versus 22. We ranked 26th among 32 teams over that period. So, for him being the offensive guru that we kind of thought over this time period, his offense is ranked 26th out of 32 teams over this 2020 to 2025 period.
Well, and you could say, and I understand you don't really have that franchise quarterback, and offensive line is banged up, and your receivers aren't that good. There's a lot of things going on. However, there's coaches that still can get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah,
and that's what's troubling to me is they're not scheming or getting people open, or they're not seeing guys open. Whatever is going on, to me it does fall on the head coach.
Yeah,
and you have the numbers that you just rattled off, and it's been kind of going on now for a little bit. It's troubling.
Yeah. Well, right now,
what else is troubling, Steve, is trying to win in Pittsburgh. I just saw that we were 0-22 in Pittsburgh in regular season games.
21 or 22. I thought was it 22?
I thought it was 22, but
regardless.
Well, do you remember when we were kids, we couldn't win it. We couldn't win in Three Rivers Stadium. We were we had the Three Rivers jinx. It was from 1970 to 81 or 82. We couldn't win there. Yep. That was 11 years. This is 22.
Yep. No. In fact, I think the greatest victory I remember didn't Bernie go into Pittsburgh that game 51-0? Biggest blowout.
Oh, I love that game. That was a great game.
Right? The glory days, but but that being said, that is regular season, but it was conveniently forgotten. Though we did beat them in the playoffs when it mattered the most. We went, now granted, it was the COVID year, so there was what were they letting in 5,000 fans at that time for games?
Yeah.
But we beat them in Pittsburgh, but that was left out. But I get regular, if you're talking regular season, yeah, it's been terrible.
I guess we'll have to wait till next year to get them, because I'm tired of Pittsburgh, Steve. I've got a guy at work
Yeah.
he's from Cleveland, but he's a Steelers fan. And I don't understand that at all. How you can be from Cleveland, but then you're a Steelers fan, but but by the way, you like the Cavs and Guardians, so that doesn't make sense. Front runner.
Yeah.
But I've got to hear this guy talk all the time about Pittsburgh's defense and all this BS. I can't say much. What I can't just like banter back because we are what we are. But that's why this team's got to get on track, because I am ready to like tell these Pittsburgh people, hey, we're back, and you're not going to shove us around anymore, because I'm sick and tired of it, to be honest, Steve. I'm tired of the Steelers.
Yep. No, I was on vacation, and I remember we went out to eat the one time, and walking in I happened to be wearing my Browns a Browns t-shirt that day, and walking in, he was an older gentleman, him and his wife. He's sitting there with his Pittsburgh stuff. He's like, oh, Cleveland. It happened to be before the game. He's like, Cleveland. He's like, what do you think this week? He's a nice enough fella, but he had his Pittsburgh gear on, and big smile on his face. It's frustrating. What can I say? I didn't have much to say. I'm like, of course that's positive. I'm like, well, I think we got a good chance against you. We'll see. And he chuckled, and so, but yeah, no, I think whatever.
Hey, we did have a chance.
We did. Yeah, we did. I mean, at the end of the day, this wasn't a blow up by any means. 9-3 at halftime.
No.
Whatever. We do play them again at home later this year, so we'll see. But that brings up predictions from last week. We didn't do any predictions for this game because we didn't do a show the week before, but we did predict last week's game, and unfortunately, we both had the Browns winning. You had 28-23, which I believe was the score back from the infamous Minnesota Vikings game, the Ahmad Rashad game. So you were you felt it was going to be reversed and we were going to be redeemed. And I had 24-13. So we lost that one. But, standings, after 6 weeks with the NFL here, at least for the AFC, you've got, this is what's infuriating. Pittsburgh 4-1, Cincy 2-4, Baltimore. I mean, they've been ravaged with some injuries here. They're 1-5 and we're 1-5. And there's at least 2 games. That Cincy game we should have won, and that Minnesota, we should be 3-2 right now, in my opinion.
You're 100% correct. And sometimes I think I'm delusional for thinking the way I do, thinking we're right there. We should be right there. But you're right. It's frustrating because we're right.
No.
This division is up for grabs. Pittsburgh's 4-1, great, but they don't look. I'm crazy, dude. I don't think they look that great, but they keep winning.
No.
So what does that mean? I don't know.
No, this division with Cincy and Baltimore having quarterback issues, Pittsburgh looks. Let's be honest. Look, they haven't really played anybody, so their 4-1 schedule is not that impressive, in my opinion, because they haven't played anybody besides us that we thought was good. What's that?
Right. Yeah, I know they beat the Vikings, and the Vikings aren't what everybody kind of thought they were, I don't think.
No, not at all. I mean, looking at it this year, they beat the Jets by 2 points in the opener. I mean, it's the Jets. The Jets are terrible. Mm-hmm. They lost to Seattle, one of the few good teams out there. They beat the Patriots, which all of a sudden Patriots are looking pretty decent. I think most people thought going into Patriots would be nothing. They're 4-2. They beat the Vikings, who, again, after what I saw with them, I'm not impressed with the Vikings. They don't have their starting quarterback, and they beat us. So I thought they played and they played the Panthers. Or no, that was preseason. So that's right. They already had their bye week, didn't they?
Yeah, they just had it when they came back from Ireland.
Was that it?
And was it Ireland or England? I think they were in Ireland or England. They had a bye week before they played. Which the schedule really did not set up very well for the Cleveland Browns. The Pittsburgh were coming off a bye week, and we were flying back from London. So it was a tough week for the Browns too. So
I think our colleague
for
Lou
a lot more positive things.
Yeah, I think our colleague Lou was talking about that. I don't know if they have a say, like, if anything, Browns, having a bye week after coming back, from playing overseas or how that really works. But yeah, they didn't do them any favors with the schedule. That is for sure. And I think we all knew going into it, the first 6 games was going to be brutal. I mean, that was a very hard part of the schedule. But it's just infuriating, whatever, some people thought this is where they could be, or even maybe not have won a game. But I look at it as you had 2 very winnable games. If you're a good team, you win those games. Too much of the past of always losing those games, and we got to win those. So
I agree. Hey, Steve, I could go for some coffee. Well, how about a word from our sponsor?
You got that. Let's take a break here. And thank you for that. We want to thank our sponsors, Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They're based out of Mechanicsburg, Ohio. Again, you can see them at hemispherecoffeeroasters.com. Check them out. They got a wide array of coffee. Give them a shout out. So we want to thank them. And, let's move on. Well, you had said something before, John. We were talking, we'll tie things up with this whole, Brown Steeler stuff. But what did you think? I think we had the clip. What did you think of Mike Tomlin's comments here? Do you want to play it or you want me to?
Oh, yeah. Let me see if I don't botch this one up like I did the opening. Let me give me a second here. I can't find it, Steve. It was.
I'll get it. I got it.
You got it. All right. Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was shocking to me. Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. But that's just my personal feelings.
What did you think about that, John?
What do you think about that, Steve?
Well, I know you said before you don't like doing that. I think that, I don't know if people remember, but Tomlin and Stefanski are friends. They go back to their days in Minnesota together. I don't think they were together for a long time, but they were there together. I think they have a friendship there, even though we're division rivals. I think he was kind of sticking up because even Stefanski said at the time he was kind of surprised about the trade, which, that kind of raised a red flag to me. But I think that was him kind of standing up for his buddy Stefanski. What do you think?
I agree with that 100%, Steve. I think Stefanski was blindsided by the Flacco trade. And I think that is 100% correct that Mike Tomlin was sticking up for Stefanski. And, Tomlin's also probably a little bit pissed too, because now since he's got Joe Flacco and, Pittsburgh's trying to win this division. So it's probably a little twofold, but it's for me, I really agree with Mike Tomlin, and I did a video about this on my TikTok page about, Andrew Berry thinking he's the smartest guy in the room always. And it's just not true. I struggle to figure out how this guy continues to keep his job. I know he had a really good draft last year. At least it looks that way on the outset. However, his drafting has been absolutely terrible. Some of the moves he made, they've been bad. I don't understand how, and you could say anything you want about the Deshaun Watson thing. For me, the general manager is the one that has to sign off. I mean, I know Haslam has to pay the money and he signs off in the end, but if Andrew Berry doesn't believe in this deal as a general manager making the moves for the team, then he doesn't do it. But he obviously believed in it. He took it to the owner. He took it to the head coach. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jimmy Haslam said, go get him. But even if Haslam overrode everything, but to me, I feel that Berry was on the ground level of this whole Deshaun Watson thing as a general manager. They didn't want Baker, and they wanted to go with Watson. I think this was Berry's big brainy idea.
I did see from on Twitter, Browns Country had posted that Berry inherited a core of a 23-year-old Denzel Ward, 24-year-old Myles Garrett, 25-year-old Baker Mayfield, a 24-year-old Nick Chubb, 26-year-old Wyatt Teller, 29-year-old Joel Bitonio, and in 6 years, the team is worse than ever. His opinion, and his opinion was one good draft shouldn't save his job, which I'm kind of leaning towards it because here's the thing. Is it the coaching or is it the talent? Because it's either one or the other or both. You can't play both sides. Like, well, we're injured and this and that. I'm tired of excuses. I thought we had a good team. I thought we had depth. To me, if this line hasn't been that good, to me, it says we don't have depth, which means that's talent. And that's on Barry.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks, this is the best you could do. I mean, this is the most important position in all of sports, and you've bombed at it. And some will say now, you had one with Baker Mayfield. What's that?
And I know we're going to talk about this real quick too, and this kind of maybe could lead into it. The David Bell, wide receiver David Bell, just announced his retirement.
Yeah.
And looking at the players at wide receiver that Andrew Berry has taken, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Anthony Schwartz, David Bell, Michael Wood, Cedric Tillman, and Jamari Thrash. Those are his draft.
The Schwartz one hurt. The Schwartz one hurts a lot because that was the same draft, if I'm not mistaken, that Amon St. Brown was in, and we passed on him for Schwartz. Yeah, that one. Yeah, Tillman showed a little bit of promise, but he's hurt. He was hurt last year. I agree. There's been he has not hit at the receiver. He's made some good trades. The Amari Cooper trade at the time was good. That was a great move on his part. Getting him out of here turned out to be the right thing. Judy at the time people thought was a great move. He's been terrible this year. I lost count how many drops he has. He actually leads I just heard this.
He leads the league in drops this year. I think it's 8 or 11. And the Browns also lead the NFL in drops.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, does that get back to your whole point about left-handed quarterbacks throwing the ball, the ball spinning different, like we heard when we were kids when Paul McDonald was quarterback? Is that why we can't catch? Because now we got a left-handed quarterback?
They dropped it with Flacco. Judy had some drops with Flacco and other receivers. In fact, some were saying, was it the touch thing, this or that? So they've been pretty consistent with both quarterbacks so far. But yeah, there's the stat with David Bell, 3rd round pick in 2022, 99th pick. He retires as a Brown, 41 receptions, 408 yards, and 3 TDs since 2022. I mean, he didn't play it all this year. Didn't he miss most of last year, or he basically wasn't around? So to your point, but yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our one of my favorite segments, which is our therapy session, which I know doesn't translate as well for our podcast listeners. So we'll do the best we can to try and describe what we're doing. The one thing I wanted to, and this happened a week before, I wanted to bring it up at our last one if we would have had our other podcast. But did you hear, John, that the great city of Columbus was awarded a UFL team, the Columbus Aviators?
Oh, no. I have not. That's awesome.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they would be playing at the legendary Crew Stadium. So, but the Columbus Aviators are now part of the United Football League. So that was kind of exciting.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, and there's 8 teams now with that. And Posh Clevelander, friend on X, I know she's a big UFL guru and knows a lot about it. She has her little show. Shouldn't say little show, but she has her show. And she discusses a lot of it. But yeah, 8 teams, 1 league, UFFL. There's the Stallions, Aviators, the Renegades, the Defenders, the Gamblers, the Kings, Storm, and Battlehawks. And so look at us. I mean, it's not Cleveland, but it is Ohio. It's another Ohio team.
Columbus is a great place to go.
Well, yeah, it is, and with the hockey and stuff. So
yeah,
I thought that was pretty good. Again, missed it last week, but this kind of goes under my doofus dork or whatever you want to call. But how about I watched? Well, we'll get to it later when our Jaguars watch. But I can't believe they won. But how about that nice during the game? They showed the sidelines of Trevor Lawrence, and they caught him red-handed just digging for gold up in that big schnauzer of his. That was pretty funny.
Steve, I honest to God, I never saw this photo, and it's a picture of. No, Trevor Lawrence with his pointer finger directly up his nose.
Oh yeah.
It's
I mean,
great.
the video is classic. I got this photo online somewhere. Somebody had, obviously stopped it, made it a photo. But that's so funny because I actually was watching that game and I saw that live at the time, and I was thinking, oh, I mean, obviously you don't know, I guess, if you're on, but
Right. Well,
yeah. How funny
someone's
was
got to teach him how to farmer blow.
Oh man, yeah, that one got me a little bit, and then this one's a little bit more serious. I saw this past week, and it's this one was about the great Ohio State Buckeye great Nick Mangold. I don't know if you heard about him, but he had made a statement, and I've got it up here on the screen. I'll just read it. To my New York Jets and Ohio State Buckeye communities, this isn't an easy message to share, but I want to be open about what's been happening with me and my health. In 2006, I was diagnosed with a genetic defect that has led to chronic kidney disease. After a rough summer, I'm undergoing dialysis as we look for a kidney transplant. I always knew this day would come, but I thought I would have more time. Unfortunately, I do not have any family able to donate at this time. So this is why I'm reaching out to you, our New York Jets and Ohio State communities. I am in need of a kidney donor with type O blood. If you are willing to find out if you could be a match and donate a kidney to me, please go to this site, and it's https://columbiasurgery.org/kidney-transplant and click on the link to indicate I want to donate my kidney. Use my full name, Nicholas Mangold, and my birth date, 1/13/1984. I am deeply grateful to anyone that would consider donating. Most of all, I'm thankful for my family who have been my rock every step of the way. The situation has reminded me of how lucky I am to have such an amazing family, friends, and community behind me. While this has been a tough stretch, I'm staying positive and focused on the path ahead. I'm looking forward to better days and getting back to full strength soon. I'll see you all at MetLife Stadium and the Shoe very soon. With gratitude, Nick Mangold. So, now that's a tough one.
That's sad to hear. Nick Mangold is a good player, and
yeah.
Hopefully he can get that kidney that he needs.
Absolutely, Buckeye, great. Had a great career actually for the Jets.
He was a beast.
Yeah, he was. And so, our thoughts and prayers go out to him. There's obviously more things important in the world than football and sports, so, we're wishing Nick the best, hoping for, a miracle. He can hopefully get that kidney transplant. And, but again, don't want to be negative, but wanted to just bring it out. We're a very small show, but, as much word that can get out about it, it's a good thing. So again, thoughts and prayers are with Nick and his family, and hopefully he can get what he needs. So
definitely.
On that note, you want to look ahead to the next game with the week 6?
Let's do that, Steve, because I'm ready to squish the fish.
Squish the fish. I like that.
Well, so I guess the big thing coming out of Miami is Tua Tagovailoa. I can never say his name correctly.
I don't even try anymore.
Just call him Tua.
Right.
Criticized his teammates after the Chargers loss, calling out missed team meetings and discipline lapses. So they're not too happy with Tua right now in Miami.
No. That was kind of shocking, actually. He come out and said people are late to meetings, player-only meetings, not even showing up to some. I was kind of surprised he went public about that.
Maybe he got hit in the head one too many times. I don't know, Steve. But the Browns are actually a 2.5 favorite this week against the Dolphins, and the weather's supposed to be pretty rainy and miserable on Sunday. It's a perfect game for the Browns to run.
I saw that.
Run at this Miami defense because they're actually really bad at stopping the run. I know their overall team defense is 26th in the league. So there's gold up in those hills to get this week. And I think running the ball and imposing their will on this Miami team, I think we can get a win. Tu also is having issues with his hip and his left thumb, which he's a left-handed quarterback. So, who knows how accurate he'll be this Sunday. And just kind of leads into hopefully this Browns defense making them pay.
Well, I know they got one big injury there, and it's huge for them.
Yeah, and Tyreek Hill, he's been out, which was a terrible, terrible injury to his knee, and hopefully he'll be able to play again. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be the same receiver, but man, that was a really bad knee injury he had, and hopefully he can bounce back. But they won't have Tyreek Hill this week.
I mean, he's 31. He'll be 32 in March. I mean, and for a receiver that his game was always based on speed with that type of injury, who knows?
Yeah, the cheetah might not be running free anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough injury. I mean, give that kid credit though. I saw him afterwards. He's been in pretty good spirits. Some people would be doom and gloom, this and that, but he's had a pretty, from what I've seen, upbeat, smiling a lot. So who knows? But as a Browns fan, he's out good. That's better for my team. So at this point,
we have to worry about.
Right at this point, I want to win. I don't care. I want to beat you at full, whatever. I want to beat somebody at full strength. No, I don't. I want to win. I want to win right now.
Exactly.
The whole team's hurt. So throw that out the window.
So, so this Sunday, Steve, I don't know, what are you thinking about tailgating? I know it's supposed to be kind of rainy downtown.
I was thinking about staying home and giving you my ticket. I was so bummed out. I looked at the weather. I came back from vacation. It started off in the low 80s. It started dropping. At one point, we had a couple upper 60s, but then by the time we left, it was 75 and sunny. I saw for the weather here wasn't bad. And actually, Saturday, I thought it was supposed to be hit 70. And I saw the weather with good old Betsy over on Channel 3, and I see rain, 100% chance of rain, periods of rain. And then they were talking also, she said there could possibly be some strong winds. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Look, I love football. I can put up with a lot. I don't mind cold. I don't mind hot. You suffer more than me because you got to sit next to me. If I'm a hot, sweaty pig, it's all on you. Cold, I can bundle up and take up more space than I already do. I can't stand rain. That's the one thing I hate is rain.
I 100%. It's give me snow, give me wind, don't give me the rain is miserable to sit in.
No,
but you are a good shield for me. With, you've got the size. You keep me kind of warm when we're sitting next to each other when it's cold out. So I do enjoy that.
Although I can't. That reminds me of the last home game that we were at, and is the Green Bay game. And unfortunately, we had Packer fans sitting next to us. Actually, I think on both sides. Oh, the one on the left was split. That's right. It was the uncle and the nephew. But the guy sitting next to you, older gentleman, didn't have one care in the world. He sat down. His legs were so spread apart. And you're a skinny guy. You're tall. You're what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'4".
And I mean
6'4", 225.
You're 225?
Yeah.
Wow. You're my prototypical quarterback. Too bad you weren't 21. 6'4", 225 and a cannon. That old man. I looked over at one point at you, and his leg was so far to the left, halfway in you could see the seats and where his legs were. And you looked at me so miserable. And to your credit, you didn't. I'm like, I would say something. And you're like, you kept shaking your head, out of respect to older gentlemen. But that cracked me up.
I don't want to.
You're a good man. You're a good man. So tailgating wise, I don't know. Last few games, we've kind of done the behind the courthouse there, a little hidden gem. It's right by the West 3rd Bridge. It's not a big parking lot. It's actually surprisingly pretty easy to get in and out of. You're right there. It's the shortest walk. The pit I've done before, and I ain't going to lie. If I'm drinking and I got to go to that game and walk up that hill, the pit, I'm dying. I hate going up that hill. We used to do the Muni lot for several years, and that's a bit of a haul. This lot is so close for where we sit. it's a great little location. You know, is it the most liveliest place? No, but I believe it tailgates with, you know, who you're with and stuff, what you make out of it. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of friends I have on Twitter and X that are in the Muni lot. I've thought about seeing if you wanted to go over there. What are you thinking?
We do that. Hey, we could do that. I'm down for anything. I'm down for the get down. As long as we're downtown Sunday morning, I'm happy.
Right. And the biggest thing we got to, you know, think about is food. You know, our tradition in the past was we always did kind of a little theme based on who we were playing. So in Miami, you know, what are they? That's pretty Latino and Puerto Rican background. Yeah. Cuban sandwiches, maybe some empanadas.
Ooh. Cuban sandwiches sound amazing. That's maybe
that actually does sound pretty good. And then you had that thing from last time. Good. The drink, remember? You talked about bringing that. You had
the Michelada. I'm Michelada drinks. Yeah.
Some Micheladas and some Cuban sandwiches. There you go. That's the plan.
There you go. Book it. Book it. There it is. We don't know where we'll be, but we'll be eating that.
Yeah. Yep. And can we talk about, you know, we'll see. Like I said, you know, we'll get to our predictions a little bit later, you know, but I got to bring up something, and this is, you know, when did this start? But when did this whole Mike McDaniel is a character in himself? He seems like he's stoned half the time I hear him talk. But what is with his kind of outfit of these? What's with these capri pants that he wears?
I don't know, dude. It's fine.
Really?
Why do people make a big deal about Mike McDaniel? Yeah, who cares?
Dude's just out there.
He's from
I guess the days of Tom Landry in the suits with the hat.
The world's upside down. The world's upside down. Mike McDaniels wears short pants. Everything's gone crazy. I don't know. Where's Tom Landry in the suit?
That's what I'm saying. But he's not the only one. Aaron Glenn. Here's a photo of Aaron Glenn wearing them. Even our boy McVay in LA, which, all right, that kind of makes sense. LA, trendy, what Miami too. I don't know. I see
Miami's trendy. Miami's really trendy.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
He lives down there.
I mean, I guess some would argue that looks better than, remember Belichick, the hoodie, with what he'd wear?
Well, that looks way better than the hoodie, I think. The hoodie looked like a rag.
Right? A little bit more classy. So, I don't know. I see those. I crack up every time. And then I've seen a few more coaches starting to wear them. And I'm like, what? So, again, I'm no fashion guru. So, what do I know?
I might get a pair and wear them down on Sunday.
I would so laugh my ass off if you did that. Oh my God, that would be great. We talked about the weather being an issue, so we'll do our picks here at the end of the show. But moving along here quickly, we'll do our little Jaguars watch. You had some interesting stats about that, no?
Yeah, these Jaguars are really starting to piss me off, Steve. They keep winning. So they're 4-2. They beat Kansas City last week, 38-21.
31-28.
What did I say? 38-21. You're right. 31-28. That's my dyslexia kicking in again. Per Tankathon right now, that Jacksonville pick is number 21. So we will be picking number 21 and number 2 if the season ended today.
Yeah. Well, the good news is they did lose last week to Seattle 20-12. So that, and again, like you said, they're 4-2. So I can't believe the Chiefs one was a shocker to me. I thought they were going to lose that one. I didn't think they had any, business, but they pulled it out.
Oh yeah, my bad. I read that. I read that complete wrong. They lost to the Seahawks last week, and I had the Jags. They beat the Kansas City 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. No, I got you. Yep. So that's that right now. If the season ended today, we'd have the 21st pick from them. And with our pick right now, we're sitting at 2. So, 2, unfortunately, so far, based on what I'm seeing in college football, I don't know if there's a franchise quarterback out there. There's nobody. Are you in love with anybody in college football right now, quarterback?
Well, Mendoza had a really nice week last week for Indiana.
Is that the Indiana quarterback?
Yeah. He had a nice game. I think they played Oregon, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I got to watch a little bit of that. My favorite coming out is Lenora Sellers from South Carolina, but boy, he's not done much this year. I know I think he had a concussion a couple weeks ago. And then last week, I think South Carolina lost again. They only scored, I think, 14 points. So Lenora Sellers, big man. He's like 6'5", 240, kind of like a
Roethlisberger or
Allen. Josh Allen. Josh Allen, big, strong, can run, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not in love with anybody right now.
Nah, me neither. Story of our life.
Maybe Shedor's our answer.
Maybe. Do you think, on a side note, you think we're going to see Shedeur at some point?
That's a great question. I would have to say probably, but I'm not opposed to having him sit the whole year. Sometimes quarterbacks need to sit.
Yeah, I kind of would like to see him. You know, I mean, he's going to be under contract for 4 years, so there's time. But I think, well, based on the way this line's been and stuff, I think there's a good chance. And if you're going to keep dropping Gabriel back 58 times a game, I think there's a great chance we're going to see Sanders sooner rather than later, because Gabriel's going to get killed. So I think we'll see him at some point. How soon? Who knows? But anyway,
I really like Shedeur. I really like Shedeur Sanders a lot. I'm a big fan of Shedeur. I don't want to ruin him. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, is it better for him to sit than to play? 50-50. You never know, right? So it would be nice to see him, but I also don't mind have him learn and watch.
Yeah. We're going to find out, but my money's with he's going to play, because if it's not for the way Gabriel's playing, it's because he's going to get hurt. So I think we'll see him at some point, but it'll be fun. So, all righty, Johnny, I wanted one of my favorite segments too, and this is the land segment where we kind of talk about something local, usually food wise. And I think you had a couple things that you did this time. No?
I did. While you were off lounging on the beach with the toes in the sand and a beer in your hand, I went to our friend's Chris Canner. He had a home brewers fest 2 weeks ago in his backyard, and it was a great time. He had, I'll read off the home brewers that he had there. He had Cool Cats, Tiny Home Brewing, Good Neighbor, Northland Brewing, and Power Up Brewing. All really good beers. I am not a craft beer. There's Chris Canner. I don't know if you're watching live, picture Chris Canner up there. So I'm not a big craft beer guy. You know, I like my Micheladas and my Coors Light, but some really good beers. They actually learned about it's called a New England IPA. It's a newer, and I'm not big on IPAs because they're so strong with the hops, but this New England IPA is a little more fruity. Really good flavor. I like that. And I also had a coffee beer, which was a stout, and it was really good. So thank you to Chris for hosting that. It was a great time, and we had great weather for it. Some great local brewers, home brewers, just a fantastic time.
Sorry, Johnny. I'm sorry I missed that. He's invited me every year. He's put that together, and every year it's been something. Either I had somewhere to go. I think one year I was taking my boat out of the water or something. Last couple times, this time we're on vacation, and I looked at everything thinking this was the time we kind of adjusted our schedule, and then we ended up changing it, and we pushed it back because we pushed it back, but yet forward in a weird way to when we were supposed to go. And what's Chris's Immigrant Son Brewery? Is that what he calls his own?
No, he doesn't. He grows hops. He grows hops, and I believe he gives it to someone to make. The Immigrant Son is I think that's the brewery in Lakewood, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I thought that was his. I thought he dabbled for a little bit with making his own beer, but no, he just does the hops part and then gives them the others.
I don't want to. He's going to listen to this, and he's going to be like, "Dude, what are you even talking about?" But I think he just makes hops. I think he grows the hops, and I believe he gives them to someone. We'll clarify, and I'll let you know.
Chris Canner,
but it was all great, really good beer, great time, great people.
Good. Now sounds like a good time. I swear, I promise, I am making one of these years next year. And then what you did, a clam bake too?
So Steve, I guess Yeah, so we did a clam bake last week, and we went to I got the clams at Seven Seas over on Lorraine Avenue.
Okay.
It's a fish market over there. They've got they can set up your own clam bake, or you could just order clams. Either way, we just ordered the clams.
Okay.
So I know it's a big thing in Northeast Ohio. Stephen, it made me think the other day. I'm like, why have we never had a clam bake at a tailgate?
We did crab legs. That was one of our favorite infamous tailgates back in the day when we were in the Muni lot. We played Baltimore. Remember that?
Yeah.
That one was
that was
legendary.
good.
We had crab leg shells all over the place. The RV was covered on the hood, the ground. We've done turkeys for Thanksgiving. We've done just about every type
Never
of
a clam bake.
We've never done a clam bake.
How the hell do we live in Cleveland and we never had a clam bake?
Well, shit. Now we got to do a clam bake. Not this week though. It's Miami. I want that Cuban sandwich.
Right,
I'm
right.
kind of looking forward to that.
The Cuban sandwiches and micheladas.
But you're right. We've never done that. So you know what? Put that on the list. If we don't do it this year, which I have to look at the schedule to see if it's a game that could work out. Next year will be a must, and we'll have to get a good group of people, a big crowd for that, and do a big clam bake one of these ones.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
there
like
you go.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, my friend. Let's going a little longer today. Again, after missing a week, a lot that wanted to talk about a lot, but again, one of our favorite segments. There's a gleam. So after some negativity talking about the Browns last week, let's try and find that gleam and something to be hopeful for. So Johnny, what do you got for your there's a gleam?
Boy, Steve, this is a tough one for me this week because, we've touched on some guys that are playing really well. I think for me is Dylan Gabriel.
Okay.
The kid's tough. He's playing behind a bad line. He doesn't have great receivers, but he's hanging in there. And I know the ball sails on him a little bit sometimes, but I like his composure. I like the way that he plays. Like I said, I don't think he's a franchise, but he's somebody I feel that you could lean on right now, and he's not going to throw the game away for you. And that's what we need right now.
Okay.
Who would be yours?
Well, did you have a defensive one too?
No, not really. I know what Alex Wright's been on my radar lately.
Yeah.
He's been playing really well.
Yeah, I know you talked about him. 4 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, and 1 QB hit. So he with Miles getting double and triple teamed, and Mason Graham gets double teamed quite a bit. That's opening spots for others, and Alex Wright's been capitalizing. He's made some plays so far this year, so I think that is a little bit of a gleam. There's the obvious choices, but for somebody not so obvious, I think Alex Wright's having a pretty good year. For me, I don't necessarily have a person. If you want to be optimistic for the Browns and, overall, like we talked about briefly, the start of the season was pretty brutal. It was 6 very tough games. So my gleam is, I saw this, the Browns have the second easiest schedule for the rest of the season. Only New England supposedly has an easier schedule. So if you want to look for a gleam and a bright spot, the schedule gets a lot easier from here on out. So let's see just how good or bad we really are.
That's a good one. Steve. There is a gleam there because I know we talked about it earlier. I still feel this division, it could be there for the taking. We get hot for a couple weeks. You never know what can happen. And with that schedule, like you just showed, we have a shot. There's a gleam.
There really is. I mean, second easiest, and but this will speak volumes for me. Where are we at? Because if we win these games and stuff, okay. Again, we still lose some games we should have won, but and if they lose, if we're anywhere close to what our record was last year, fire them all, get rid of everybody, blow the whole thing up, and let's start over. I'm done. So
I agree.
We shall see. So, all right, my friend, let's wind this down here with some closing comments and predictions for next week. What do you got for me?
All right. Well, the Cleveland Browns right now are 27th in team offense, while the Miami Dolphins are 26th in team offense. And the Cleveland Browns are 3rd in team defense, while the Dolphins are 30th in team defense. So offenses are pretty comparable, but the Browns defense should just dominate this game.
And a home field advantage, too.
And the home field advantage. Yeah,
Although
for sure.
They were here
coming back home. It's been a while. It's been a month.
Yeah, right. Well, what was it? Was Miami here last year as well, weren't they? The Dolphins? If I'm not mistaken, they're here last year. I remember last time they were here, there was a good amount of Dolphins fans when we were at that stadium. I saw a lot of Dolphins jerseys. So I'm wondering this time around if they'll have such a I guess a following, or I'm not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But I like that. Their defense is bad. 30th, you said?
30th, yep.
All right. Who you going with?
389 yards a game.
Well, that's encouraging.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So this is the week to launch the kickoff for a little win streak for the Browns. Get our feet under us on that offense, make some hay, and then get the win. So my prediction, Steve, I got the Browns winning 13-3.
Wow.
I think the weather is going to play a factor in this game. I think the Browns should lean heavily on Judkins, and I really feel that this, and I feel that the Browns defense will shut down the Miami Dolphins offense.
Okay, I like the prediction. I too feel that the Browns, if they're going to win a game, this is some people think this is a game for the coaches. If whatever team loses this game, could Mike McDaniel or Kevin Stefanski possibly get fired after a game like this? So I do like the Browns. I like them at home after hearing the defensive, rankings and offensive rankings. Their offense doesn't look very good. They're without their best wide receiver. Their defense isn't very good. However, I am fool me once, the whole saying. I am never predicting the Browns to score more than 17 points until they actually do. So I am going the Cleveland Browns 17, the Miami Dolphins 10. I think it'll be a close game.
There you go.
The Browns are going to win.
Good.
What's that?
I love that prediction. I love that.
I'm not going over 17 points though.
Me neither. But I like you gave us 3 more points than what I had, so I'm happy with that.
The Patriots are
the Smith's kicking well.
Yeah, good for him. He bounced back after that one game, so hopefully things go good from the rest of the way, and he'll have a great career here. But you look at this quick little stretch. Patriots are a little bit of a surprise. They're 4-2 and tied for first now with the Bills. But who knows? That's in New England. But, we play the Jets after that. We play the Ravens at home who are banged up. You play the Raiders. This could be the start of a nice little winning streak, or, a good run of, changing that 1-5 around to, 4-1 or something. So we'll see. This stretch is big for us.
It really is. This is a make or break game for the Browns. We win this, there's a gleam. We lose it, we're probably done. We're done.
I agree. Yeah. If they lose this game, this will be one of the all-time lows during a season for me. And I didn't want to see what the stadium and tailgating will be like after this. So, but we're going to stay positive. We're both predicting a win. We both think the Browns are going to win. So, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. We want to thank you for tuning into our show, and we will see you live next week, back at our regular time and day, Wednesdays at noon. And go Browns.
Go Browns. Hoo, hoo.